morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. Real quick intro, I'm Don Warden. As Shilpa mentioned, I am the Director of Incident Response at Cybolt. I've been in this field for over 30 years, having my start in the United States Navy. And I'm a real hands-on practitioner. I'm not someone that works in theory necessarily. So we're going to be covering a topic today that I spend a lot of time working on, both in the field and also, doing research. And I'm really excited that you joined today. So let's dive right in. So $625 million. That is the amount of money that was stolen from a blockchain gaming company in a single operation by North Korea's Lazarus Group. And their initial access vector was a single spear phishing email that was sent to a developer who thought he was getting an interview invitation from a recruiter. So these guys spent a couple of weeks persona building on LinkedIn. They create a fake venture capital group. They create a PDF that looked like a job description, and that's all it took. So today I'm going to go through a couple of different demos, and hopefully technology works for me. But I want to show you exactly how they did it, and more importantly, I want to show you how AI has allowed them to make this more accelerated. They can do this faster, cheaper, and also make it a lot more convincing than in years past. So we're going to work through three different arcs today. First, we're going to talk about how the APTs evolved and what made the big three, which are Russia, China, and North Korea, very distinct actors before artificial intelligence. And then we're going to go live with a couple of demos that show you how they have actually changed their game and upped their game, and not what some cybersecurity vendors have claimed. Finally, we will have an end on 5 concrete things you should think differently about after today's demos and presentation. So before we get into everything, I think that we need to make sure that everyone understands exactly what the APT model means and what it looks like. So APT is a designation that originated from the United States military and the intelligence communities around 2006. And they made this because it acknowledged that there are some adversaries out there that aren't just script kiddies or regular hackers. They are state-sponsored, they're very methodical, and they play the long game. The 3 Ps that differentiate nation-state actors or APTs are patience. They can wait for months, persistence, they have multiple redundant footholds within environments, and precision. So they don't go in and spray and pray. They wait for specific data from specific people. Before the AI started being implemented by the APTs, running an APT campaign required real infrastructure. So that meant they had to have safe houses where they had their operators working. They had operator teams, custom tooling development, a lot of logistical background that was needed. And that's why only nation states could really afford to do these types of activities at scale. So let's take a look at the big three. And we'll start with Russia. Russia is a disruptor. They are not always trying to steal secrets from companies or individuals. Sometimes they just want to cause chaos. NotPetya, which you probably have heard about, caused over $10 billion in global damages. And it was designed to look like ransomware, but it was actually a wiper. Sandworm is another one that's attributed to Russia and is arguably the most dangerous cyber unit on the planet. Next, we'll move to China. China plays a very, very long game. And I've worked with Volt Typhoon artifacts firsthand. What sets them apart is how patient they are and how completely they are able to blend into the environments. They're not dropping around any kind of flashy malware. They're basically living off the land. They're using your own admin tools against you. The MSS attribution is firm. It's not the PLA, despite what some people might report. And then we'll move to North Korea. The PRK is unique because they have a dual mandate. They want to do espionage, and because of all the different sanctions that are imposed upon their regime, they want to create revenue. The Lazarus Group funds that regime. Run and bridge hack wasn't just espionage, it was also a big payday for them. And I've worked different investigations involving those operators as well. What impresses and also disturbs me is how sophisticated their social engineering has really become. So each of these actors have a very, very distinct operational signature. And since AI has arrived, it's started to really blur those lines between them. So before 2020, running a sophisticated APT campaign required a very, very elite team. It took a significant amount of resources, months of preparation, but AI is collapsing those barriers in three very specific ways. And let's walk through those. First is on the recon side. What used to take a team of analysts weeks, which is building the target profiles, mapping out organizational structures, identifying the right individual, all those things can be accelerated by artificial intelligence almost instantaneously. Malware. We'll take a look at malware in one of our demos today. AI-assisted mutation is also changing how the malware evades detection. Phishing. This is the one that keeps me up at night, and it's also the #1 attack vector that not only APTs but other threat actors utilize to be able to gain access into environments today. We're going to generate a Lazarus Group style spear phishing email live in a few minutes, and you'll see exactly why your current awareness training wasn't built for what is coming and what's live right now. So let's take a look at what this actually looks like in practice. So the first demo that we're going to do today is on what we would see from Volt Typhoon. I'm going to show you what an analyst used to spend about a half day doing. We're going to do it in about 3 minutes, and we're going to use a local AI model that's running on my laptop. It's not cloud connected. It's just a local version of Ollama running on MacBook Pro. Just really standard, fair. Anyone can set this up. So let me switch my screen to Ollama. Let me grab my prompts, and we'll put it in here. So our prompt is you're a senior cyber threat intelligence analyst, and we want to analyze Volt Typhoon, MSS attributed PRC. We want to provide the objectives and targeting focus. We want to generate the top 5 TTPs by technique, name only, no MITRE IDs. We want to see their living off the land techniques observed post 2022. We want to take a look at the key detection priorities for enterprise defenders. We do not want to cite sources or include the MITRE ATT&CK IDs. We want to format for a technical security audience. So we'll hit enter. So you can see how quickly that you're able to get the threat intelligence that you need to get off of Volt Typhoon just by utilizing artificial intelligence. These are things that used to take the analysts weeks and weeks of time to do. Now you can do this in a matter of seconds, as you can see. So when I first ran this demo, when I was doing preparation for this presentation, the AI kept hallucinating the MITRE ATT&CK IDs, and it would generate numbers that don't exist. And so what this proves is there's a very important point here. It's not a failure of the AI, right? That's what the AI knows. What this proves is that as smart as AI is, we still need to have the human interaction and the guardrails within the artificial intelligence environments to make sure that, you know, the data that's produced is actually real data. You know, as good as AI is, you still can't beat having the human touch to things. And if you're utilizing artificial intelligence today in your environments, you need to make sure that you have very strong guardrails and that you also have humans that are involved in it. The second demo that we're going to do is AI malware mutation. So I want to touch on something that doesn't get enough attention whenever you're talking to cybersecurity software vendors, what the AI does with the malware itself. So I'm going to grab the second one here. So the prompt is, you're a senior malware analyst creating educational content for a SOC team. You want to analyze AI-assisted malware mutation techniques post-2022. You want to provide pre-AI ossification methods. You want to see how AI now assists code mutation, signature evasion, behavioral randomization, anti-sandbox capabilities. You want to see the impact on AV, EDR, and behavioral technique engines. You want 3 indicators that AI-assisted mutation may be present. And you want to focus on nation-state APTs. Do not fabricate. So you can see that these are really, really strong tools that your analysts can use within your environment to be able to do the type of rapid intelligence gathering that once took a long time and a lot of depth and breadth to be able to do. You can do that with artificial intelligence within a matter of minutes. Whenever I'm doing IR and I pull malware samples, these are the 3 things that tell me something has changed within the tool chain. Number 1, the rapid variant velocity. So if I'm seeing dozens of samples with minor structural differences in a very short window, that's an automated mutation. It's not something that's manual that a threat actor is working on actively. Number 2, any unusual polymorphism, specifically when you see non-functional elements changing randomly. So think about metadata, string ordering. There's dead code legs that are within the code base that you find. That's all AI assisted. The third thing that I see is anti-analysis behavior that's absolutely too sophisticated. So that immediately flags me that this is AI assisted. It goes and it laughs at any kind of sandboxes or honeypots that may be out there. The level of evasion that they see is just, it's rapidly evolving. It's absolutely insane to see. And you know that is absolutely artificial intelligence that's in play. So the key point of all this is that if you still rely on signature-based detection alone, you are dead in the water at this point. By the time that your AV vendor writes a signature, the AI has generated thousands of different variants that it would never catch. So let's talk about the evolution of spear phishing and get to one of my favorite topics, which is the Lazarus Group. So the Lazarus Group's phishing in 2014 looked like what you would expect from a nation-state actor that was just learning. They had grammatical errors in their emails. You probably have seen plenty of these phishing emails that are mimics of some of the things that the Lazarus Group used to do. You probably have gotten a bunch of different emails over the course of time from different Nigerian kings wanting to give you money, etc. These old emails were generically targeted. You could absolutely spot them a mile away. It was so simple. By 2018, they got a lot better. They started building out fake LinkedIn personas. They started doing role-based targeting. They would have plausible pretexts for their emails. We started seeing crypto exchange employees getting legitimate seeming outreach from what appeared to be venture capital firms and recruiters. And then from 2022 onward, with the artificial intelligence assistance, the quality jumped to a level that is absolutely alarming. And what I'm about to generate for you is very representative of where we are today with the Lazarus Group and other APT groups that use these types of spear phishing campaigns. I'm going to show you what it looks like now, but I just want to warn you, what you're about to see is going to be very shocking for you. Let me pull the prompt here. So this prompt is, you're a security awareness training developer. You want to create a sophisticated spear phishing email demonstrating the current Lazarus Group tactics targeting a cryptocurrency exchange employee. The scenario is the sender is a VC recruiter from a legitimate sounding firm. The target is a senior blockchain developer. The lure is an exclusive job opportunity and significant compensation. And then you want them to review the job description. So here is the output of that. You can see that it's VC recruiter at genesispartners.io. Subject line, exclusive job opportunity for blockchain expert, $250,000 base salary. And dear recipient name, I came across your profile, et cetera, et cetera. I'll let you all read it. You could run this prompt as well on your own AI. It's going to generate a very similar output. Probably won't be the same names every time, and it's certainly not every time that I've run it. But you can see those are very, very convincing emails. The sender has a very, like I said, a very plausible name. This time it was genesispartners.io. The domain sounds real to actual operations that you might see. Threat actors will go and generate registrations of these legitimate sounding domains, and they'll use them. Sometimes they'll do typo squatting. So they might take a legitimate firm and use a acrylic letter, or they might substitute 0 for an O, etc., to make it look probably indistinguishable for most individuals. So if we break this down, the subject line is very personalized, aspirational. It's not very aggressive. It doesn't scream open me. It just says, hey, you've been selected. We have an exclusive opportunity for you. They reference you personally. So they've been doing, all this background work on you. They want to make sure that you keep this quiet. It creates a sense of exclusivity, and it reduces the likelihood that you'll run it by a colleague who might say, hey man, this is really somebody trying to spear phish you. And then the lure is always a document, the PDF attachment, and the payload is always into the PDF. In real life operations, that PDF has been crafted to exploit a specific PDF reader vulnerability and then deliver a dropper. So, you saw that it only took 15 seconds to generate this. In actual Lazarus Group operations, the email arrives after weeks of LinkedIn engagements. And so by the time that this email arrives, the target thinks that they already know the target, and that's why this works so well. So why this works, let's break this down a little bit. In actual Lazarus Group operations, the email arrives after they've been doing the reconnaissance, like I mentioned on LinkedIn. They've built a relationship perhaps with that individual that they're targeting. They might have even had casual conversations with that individual through chat. The target probably already told a colleague that, hey, I'm talking to this VC recruiter about an interesting opportunity. And so by the time the email arrives, the trust is already there. In a lot of the engagements I've worked, we found evidence of this persona building phase where they have months of activity, real connections. Sometimes that persona even had published content that they put out to make them look extremely legitimate. And then at the right moment, they go and put the bait in the water. So the bottom line in all this is that most phishing awareness training was built for 2016 and not 2026. So if you take a look at the different 5 things that I point out here, the authority and the legitimacy, the personalization, the aspirational triggers, the confidentiality hook, and a call for action, all those things were missing prior to 2022 and the implementation of artificial intelligence into their attack techniques and attack chains. Now it's extremely difficult to tell what's real and what's not real. So what does this mean for the defenders, for you guys? There are 3 distinct shifts that are being seen within the environments. Number 1, signature-based detection is extremely insufficient at this point. Malware mutation demo showed you this. AI generates variants significantly faster than any human team can write signatures. If your primary detection layer is signature-based, AV, or EDR, you're fighting a losing battle. Shift 2, and this one is really, really important. Behaviorals. The shift in behavioral analysis is how we need to look at things now. Volt Typhoon doesn't drop malware. They use your own tools. They live off the land. And the only way to catch them is through behavioral analysis. What is this account doing at this time? Why is CERT util making an outbound connection on this port? Why is bits admin running a system? These types of flags and behavioral patterns, they're a must to be watched now. They're not just a nice to have. Shift 3, human validation of AI tools is non-negotiable. So as we saw within the demo, the model gave us the solid intelligence that we wanted, but it would hallucinate the MITRE IDs. So all my years of firsthand knowledge were able to correct this, but you can't just solely rely upon artificial intelligence to help you do all of your analytics work. You really have to have those humans that are in the middle of things. So lastly, let me leave you with 5 key things, what you should think about doing differently today. AI enhances the reconnaissance, the phishing, personalization, and infrastructure agility. So you need to audit the attack surface assumptions that you might be utilizing today. APTs are actively influencing post-AI threat landscape. So you need to update your threat models to reflect the AI-enabled TTPs that are out there, because they're always changing. AI-assisted malware is here. So you need to evaluate whether your current detection stack can handle the velocity of variant changes that are happening within environments. There's a shift from static IOCs to behavioral and predictive intelligence. So making that change is not optional. So you have to start building out those indicators of behavior now before it's too late. And then lastly, strategic implications extend to the entire organization. So the defenders, intelligence teams, and detection engineers all need to adapt to these new models. So awareness is the first step of all this. Now that you've seen what can happen and how they use things, how you can use artificial intelligence to help you with your analyst work and make you get smarter and better. And the next step is what we're going to cover in the next session, where we go deep on what you actually see from these actors. So we're going to cover from indicators to intent on May 28th, and I will see you there. Thank you so much for attending today. How it's able to do avoid detection is through the polymorphism that is, able to occur with the malware variants that are being pushed out by the APTs today. That's number one. Number two is that, like I mentioned on specific spear phishing campaigns, they will register and they will have legitimate domains. So they're going to have DMARC, DKIM, et cetera. So they're going to pass traditional and current checks that one would look for something that was nefarious. So those two methods are, the key two methods that they utilize to be able to avoid detection. So as I mentioned within the presentation, there really needs to be a shift to behavioral analytics and better education within organizations. So I'm sure that that's on the radar for traditional training companies that provide corporate training. But you need to think about, and you can even utilize artificial intelligence yourself to build out those types of training materials that are going to better prepare your end users for what they're encountering today. And I know that a lot of people get sick of getting those emails and the training emails and phishing emails. And it's almost become a joke, but the reality is the number one attack vector is phishing and spear phishing. For high value targets that are within your organization, so think about anyone in the C-suite, director level, anyone that has access into financial resources, they especially need to get extra care and extra training so that they're aware of what's out there and what's going to be headed their way. You need to also train them about the vulnerabilities that are out there with relation to LinkedIn. I get a lot of requests for connections on LinkedIn, and I generally accept most connections, but there are key indicators that I see when someone wants to take a conversation off of LinkedIn and they want to talk to you on Discord or Signal or whatever, Telegram, then those are key indicators that there's something probably not right with this person and they're probably up to something nefarious. Yeah, so I can definitely assure you that there is a global concerted effort. If you think about the FBI, Interpol, all the other large organizations in law enforcement, they definitely are working on these types of things, and it's definitely a problem that they are actively looking at and trying to solve. If you just look about a month ago, they put a warrant out for 11,000 threat actors. So there are a lot of people that are running scared. In fact, in the last quarter, the observance of traditional ransomware groups that we have seen that go in and do the traditional dual extortion model has dropped significantly. And then we've seen a major shift in the movement towards more of this spear phishing and phishing campaigns, business email compromise attacks, etc. So they're changing right now, but we need to be vigilant because we know from past behaviors that a lot of these groups will go and splinter whenever there are these types of concerted global efforts to go and combat what they're doing. And they recreate themselves into something else, and they'll morph into something that's even more terrible than what they were before. with better and stronger capabilities. And artificial intelligence makes this even worse because they're able to do it at speed. So I've had the opportunity to take a look at probably 4 different modern systems that try to do exactly what you described, where they're utilizing agent-based technology with artificial intelligence to go after different types of threats within environments. They're pretty impressive. They do more than just go and get you the analyst view of things. They're able to rapidly tell you how to mitigate a specific problem that you see within an environment. Sometimes you can also have them autonomously do these types of response activities. So, I think we're probably 3 to 6 months behind the threat actors on what we have for capabilities that are available to organizations to use. The tools are out there, they're rapidly evolving. So I'm extremely hopeful that the technology is going to be able to be leveraged in our favor, the defender's favor, with the use of the AI, just like the threat actors use. So the only way that you can combat artificial intelligence is really with artificial intelligence. Humans can't operate at the speed nor at the complexity levels that artificial intelligence are able to throw at different systems and different types of security controls and constraints. That being said, I think that ensuring that you have baseline controls in place, take your choice of control sets, be it NIST 800, 171, CIS, etc. I think you need to have those in place. Those are the bedrock foundation of your cybersecurity needs within an environment. And then on top of that, you need to make sure that you've got layered security. And humans need to be within one of those layers to ensure that things don't get out of hand. But you can only combat AI with other AI. The TTPs have evolved pretty rapidly, like I described. So think about the things that you're able to do manually today through OSINT or open source intelligence. So in the demo that I did, think about how you could go as an individual and track down different resources within or targets within a organization. You can even break it down to think about how salespeople go and try to find different targets for sales, right? This is the same type of tactic and procedures that the APTs use, except they're using AI to go and do the scraping instead of going to Spokio and having someone go do all that stuff manually. So they're able to rapidly go look at different types of target groups that they want to go after. They're able to scrape all those data that are out there in open source, and then they're able to go and rapidly put all those data into the spear phishing and phishing campaigns. So that's really how those TTPs have evolved over time. I think that your base question is there anything that you can observe through traditional indicators of compromise? And that answer is probably not, right? And that's why I mentioned that we need to start looking at behavioral analytics and the way that users are utilizing the technology. What trends and patterns are normal for a user, right? So think about if you have your CFO who's all of a sudden you see a spike in their data utilization at 3 a.m. and you haven't seen that, that should raise a red flag or an alarm for you that there's something that's awry with that user. Those are the type of baseline activities that you need to have, and you need to have AI or have your SIM tools set up to where you've got playbooks that are able to respond to those types of behavioral shifts. So strategically, I think you need to shift your tactics and the way that you think about things, right? I wouldn't be scared about it. I think that you just need to make sure that you understand the threat that you have and make sure that you have the tooling and you do the research and use what's available to you. There are a lot of really good AI models that are out there that you can put into your work streams that, you know, as I showed you, as an analyst, you would be able to go and rapidly determine whether something looks correct or not correct. That's really at a base level, you know, where we're at right now. Aside from that, just doing evaluations of different artificial intelligence assisted tooling that you can have within your environment that's going to help you with those types of behavioral analytics, making sure that you have the right type of security in place for messaging, right? Like I said, and I'll keep hammering this down, that is the number one attack vector that we have today is email, followed very, very closely by other types of social media interactions. So that needs to be on your radar. So I get that question a lot because, you know, with the evolution of Codex and Claude Code and all the other pick your vendor of choice, you still need to have a baseline understanding of how to do coding. And, you know, like I say, humans need to be the last piece in line, the last guardrail. So I think it's okay, and it's going to rapidly assist you to be able to have artificial intelligence assist or augment you in development of code that you might use within cybersecurity. But at the end of the day, you need to make sure that you have a good understanding of how code works, that you're able to walk through what this code is doing. I'm working on a matter right now where artificial intelligence was utilized to develop a tool for a company, and they had a bunch of autonomous agents that were going out and doing countering and all types of appointment setting. The AI started working in conjunction with each other and started playing off each other. And there weren't enough guardrails in place. So the AI was able to go and do the type of polymorphism that I described, where they were writing files and deleting files and changing network configurations and all types of things. So you have to make sure that you have those guardrails in place, and you have to make sure that you have that the humans are kind of the last mile, if you will. But yes, you still need to know how to code. Yeah, that is a great question. And I think the question back to you is, at the end of the day, does attribution really matter at this point, right? As quickly as the AI is able to go and do those types of code mutations and polymorphism, it really doesn't matter at this point, right? You can make assumptions based upon what's being attacked and how it's being attacked. You would know different types of behavioral patterns that you would see from various APTs. But honestly, just being able to defend against it is really what's most important at this point. So it really comes down to what type of data you are getting from your Azure or other cloud-based environments that are being analyzed by the tooling or the SIM that you might be using. That's where, as I described before, we really need to figure out how to integrate artificial intelligence to combat the artificial intelligence. So I know if you're in Azure, I know the Defender product within the SIM environment in Azure is really good. You can go and port in just about any type of data set that you want to port in from any type of device that's able to provide telemetric activity, and being able to do those types of correlations at rapid speed is extremely important. So I don't think that the SIM as a whole is going to go away. I think that AI augmented SIM and having those types of very rapid assessments that allow the analysts to have how to respond at their fingertips is really where we need to be. And then ultimately we get to where we feel more comfortable and we have the guardrails in place to have more autonomous defense reactions to specific threats. So, like I described, within the last week, I've demoed probably 4 different products that are pretty impressive in their ability to be able to do those types of activities. So that's where we're heading. That's where you need to be thinking about. So there are a couple of different reference architectures that you can look at today. NIST has published one that you can reference. The Cloud Security Alliance is also has one. The EC Council has a perspective on artificial intelligence governance as well. So there are a bunch of different places. They're all very, very similar in what they're trying to achieve. And just pick one. They're out there already, and you should definitely be utilizing them. Yeah, I would just say, just remain vigilant. Make sure that you're ready, and don't fear the future. Embrace the future, and embrace AI, and use it for good defense. Thank you.